And we are live once again. And welcome, Dr. Anne Donnelly. Hi, everyone. And as you've been listening in to these interviews, of course, I'm still busy interviewing amazing people. And because they're so amazing, we might need to get them on 2 or even 3 times. And so Anne is one of those. And actually, I was just chatting to Anne about, what has happened. I mean, we are now in 2021. We're in January. And of course, every year, everybody always has that health kick. They always want to get, do the detoxes and get revved up. And I don't think this year is any different. And of course, in the UK, we had the news yesterday that we were going to be on, a full lockdown for 6 weeks, a minimum of 6 weeks. And so this might be a perfect opportunity for people to perhaps try a few things that they perhaps haven't tried before, haven't had the time to do before. Maybe they want to get their families involved. So I thought it'd be great to get Dr. Anne on. And she's going to give us some top tips about boosting our immune system and keeping healthy in these times. So welcome, Dr. Anne.
Oh, Kate, thanks very much. Yes, this is a really interesting time. When we were just talking about this the other night, when we were saying about things that are really important to boost our immunity. And right now, as I've said before, there are 4 key things that every one of us can be at least thinking about or planning for, because there's a lot of overwhelm out there at the minute. People are worried about various different things that are happening, including the COVID-19 situation. So the most important thing is to try and make ourselves stronger. And that includes these 4 pillars that I'm going to talk about. I mentioned them before, but number 1, we have our diet. Number 2, we have physical exercise. Number 3, we have our sleep, which is actually really important when it comes to our immunity. And then number 4, we have, I'm just wondering, was that something, a little bit of interference there, Kate? Maybe. And number 5 then, which is really, really important, is our stress levels. And I just have been reading a little bit around the amount of engagement with mental health services over the last while. And in particular, in September of last year, it was really notable that we had a huge increase in the number of prescriptions for antidepressants. And unfortunately, what coincided with that was less with talking services. And maybe at the time, we did have, everyone trying to change their services to online services at that time. But what's really important to acknowledge, about that is that the evidence would suggest that online services are just as helpful when it comes to combating stress and when it comes to combating, mental health issues, especially in the milder to moderate areas. So, please, if, a great deal of speculation around this was that, patients weren't wanting to perhaps engage with services because they didn't want to overwhelm the services at the time, overwhelm the NHS, overwhelm those who were delivering, different services. But please, we are more online now. We have much to offer online, even in terms of support, but in terms also of counselling if anyone needs that. And in particular, if they're dealing with mental health issues. So this is incredibly important. The level of stress that people are under at the minute is evident. So there are many reasons for that. Stressors in terms of income worries, stressors in terms of worry about family, stressors in terms of worry about health in general. And so our immunity is incredibly, incredibly important. So looking at those 5 or 4 areas, really, Kate, we're thinking about perhaps our diet. Is there anything in particular you wanted to know just to start, or shall I launch into it?
Yes, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because lots of people are talking about different things that you can do and what works for them. And I like this way of breaking it down into 4 pillars. And what I also like, Anne, is the way that you make this accessible to everybody. Because I think sometimes we think, oh, if we haven't got a gym, if we haven't got equipment, if we haven't got the right food in the fridge, then we can't start and we can't, get fit or get healthy. But actually, these 4 pillars are actually, as you explain them, they have a vast range of things within each of the pillars that somebody can do. So we can start off something very simple, and then we can make it quite complex if we choose. So, as Dr. Anne is going through this, I would really recommend, kind of making a note or something, because there's something for everybody in this. And I think the most important thing that I would like to point out here is that it's better to do just one thing than no thing. And that's amazing. Just doing one of something is tremendous. So, Anne, yes, tell us about these 4 pillars. And the first one you said was diet, and I'm sure that is on everybody's lips after Christmas and New Year. We've all probably had a little bit of
Yes. Yes. One of the things that I do harp on about quite a bit is about hydration. And it's the first thing to think about when we think about what we put into our bodies. And very often, it's interesting because it's not necessarily that, some of us need to drink more water, which we do, but also we need to look at the things that we consume that dehydrate us. And that could be anything from, caffeine to alcohol. I was really, really surprised to read recently that, 6 glasses of wine a week can be equivalent to 19 to 24 glasses of water lost in our system. So if we think about that, I know that in some countries, in the United Kingdom, we don't do this so much, but in certain countries throughout Europe, if, you have a little glass of, a cup of coffee, you have a glass beside it. And, if you have a glass of alcohol, you have a glass of water beside it. So it's very, very, very important for us to, and, hydration is so important, because the more hydrated we are, the better it is for our skin. It's great in terms of helping with all kinds of inflammatory conditions, and also in terms of anti-aging. The more hydrated we are, the less dehydrated our skin is, and the better skin turnover we actually get. So you still get that youthful look, in your skin. So hydration is exceptionally, exceptionally important. And I know that there are a number of, thoughts out there about water fasts, about doing fasting related to water, and this is very helping in breaking certain cycles, like maybe if you have certain addictions like sugar, or if you happen to have a tendency to eat too much sugar. And obviously over Christmas time, a lot of us may have indulged that little bit more, so that will really help with that. So that's important. If you're going to do something about your diet, the first thing I would really advise you to do is to open your fridge and have a little look inside. And one of the things that really strikes in my fridge is, how much color I have there. And, very often the foods that are most immunity boosting are the foods that have the most color. And that will include all greens, including your broccoli, your spinach, including all the you often see the greens juices that people talk about, and when they are boosting the immune system. Your citrus fruits are very important. Blueberries are exceptional. They contain an immense amount of vitamin C. And of course, recently there has been that added research around vitamin D and zinc. And if you are going to take supplements, I would really recommend vitamin D, particularly here in the Northern Hemisphere. We don't get as much light as certain parts of the world, so we are depleted generally. So we do need to boost our vitamin D if you're going to take a supplement. And also zinc has been shown to help with immunity when it comes especially to teen. So those would be the things that I would say about our food. There's also a great deal to suggest that the more mucus producing foods we indulge in, can a little bit more susceptible to colds, chest problems, and to flus as well. And if you are going to test that, I would say if you can cut back a little bit on the amount of dairy produce that you take in your everyday. Now, we have a huge vegan movement in the world. So there are lots of lovely vegetable recipes out there, plant-based recipes. And if you want to look up even on the immune boosting recipe, you will find tons, and generally speaking, you know, they do have less meat and less dairy products in them. But again, you know, one step at a time. I have been a vegetarian now for over 20 years, and you know, I've enjoyed, you know, these still dairy products to you know, to a lesser degree different time, and I've dabbled in diet quite a bit, and I found that I don't have to change what's in my cupboard hugely. I will find that there will be certain vegan ways of adapting your diet, especially those that have sometimes less produce that give you a lot of bloat. What tends to put people, if they have thing in their tummy, then they feel that this isn't doing me just so good. So there is a way of reducing, you know, bloating produce in vegan diet, and a particular, I'm not doing this as a plug, but I found it very helpful, is Pear, PEAR. They have so many good recipes online at the moment, and they also do a really good.
And could you say that again, because the internet keeps cutting a little bit, and I'm just going to type it into the chat box. What was it? The name of the two chefs?
Yes. So the one is the what were the names again? Sorry, that you wanted.
So the internet's just cutting out. So we didn't quite hear the names that you were saying.
Okay, so the Happy Pear, PEAR, is the name of the vegan recipe. Able to find lots of them on Facebook as well as on the internet in general. And the other thing mentioned was washing. And I think that is one of those things that can give us a helping hand in terms of helping us to overcome maybe that type of thing. If you do even just for one day, I'm suggesting one day, it can really help with that.
Excellent. And so the key here is the key here with the food is hydration, and actually looking at what foods are in your fridge, and then enjoying, you know, trying to make the foods as colorful as possible, and also you know, and making sure that we take in a lot of water. You know, that's a really good starting point with our food, with that pillar of food. I like that. It's simple.
You're right. I am so sorry. We seem to have broken up a little bit.
Hi, Anne. Can you hear me?
How's that?
Yes. So what was the next pillar, Anne?
I can, but it's very broken up, Kate.
So what was the next pillar that you were going to talk about?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the line seems to be very broken today, Kate. I'm not sure if it's because of the increased Wi-Fi demand at the moment, but can you hear me at the moment?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay. Well, will I move on then to I'm not sure. Will I move on to the next? the next piece, the exercise. Okay, my apologies for the poor reception. With exercise, we have so much evidence to suggest that exercise boosts our immune system. It gives us a general sense of well-being. It produces endorphins, which help us to feel happier. It helps and to combat pain as well, but it actually does boost the immune system. And overall, the evidence would suggest that we need two types of exercise, in our daily, in our weekly routine. But that would include cardio, so we're getting our heart rate up. And there's no coincidence that the United Kingdom, government had suggested that we can leave the home for, at the very, very beginning of lockdown when we weren't able to do so much else. And this is not only good for our mind, but it's also good for our physical body as well. And, the question that, evidence suggests that, we need 150 minutes of aerobic exercise, but aerobic simply means that where you're able to still talk, but you feel a little breathless, when you're walking. So you're able to talk, but feeling a little breathless. You're feeling as if your heart rate's getting up. You're maybe a little bit of a sweat. And if you can do that over a period of a week, so a brisk walk is a great idea. Plus the concept then of this strengthening exercises. And you can do those in your own home, where you're doing something where you're taking on your own body weight and you're doing things like the plank is an excellent one. You can do it just even for short periods of time, building up bit by bit. But if you're not able to do that, taking a pound of sugar or a bottle of water, from you've got a litre and a half is 1.5 kilos. So you're beginning to use that as a strengthening exercises for your but then of course for your legs, if you're using things like squats are amazing. So managing your exercise tolerance, but remember, do what you can. Do what you can. Don't feel that you have to start with 150 minutes every week immediately, but get some exercise going. And I remember when I was trying to get my steps up, during the last lockdown, I was walking around the rooms in the house at one point, when the weather just wasn't at all conducive. So, do what you can. It doesn't have to be, a huge change to your room, but do something. Just get moving, and of course make it enjoyable. If you find that running or if you do run that or exertion, you can do that for less periods and get the same benefits. But just remember that whatever you do, try to be consistent about it. Mark it down, in your diary on a regular basis, and maybe even set an alarm on your phone so that you don't forget and that you have that motivation. And if you want, add a little tune to your phone alarm that has rocky rocky music, or if you are going to dance, if you are going to get moving, make sure that huge motivator for our mood as well. It can really help us to feel much, much better. So pick out the tunes that make you feel good. It could be due to a decade in your life, or you might find tunes that are particularly good for getting that beat going, so that you can get your rhythm going in whatever it is that you're doing. But make sure it's part of it if that is your thing. But I highly recommend it.
Wonderful. Yes, and before I got my stepper on the first lockdown, I was outside on the just into the courtyard. I was just like up and down the step, and I did that for an hour every day. I had my music on and I would just go step up and down, step up and down, step up and down. That's and it works, so you don't need, you could do that at the bottom of the stairs. You don't need a huge amounts of equipment.
No,
I love that.
No. And Yeah, and again, a weight of any kind. It can be anything that if you're going to do those strengthening exercises, if you want, your body just to be that little bit stronger,
Mm.
you can find different things around the house, and anything that gives you resistance,
Yeah,
will do the trick.
yeah. Thank you.
So sleep, when you're thinking about being at home and sleep and all the rest, when we don't have routine, it's very easy to slip into, taking naps now and again and this type of thing. And while that's good, that we can do that, it can disrupt our nighttime sleep. You know, Depending on what age we are, we need more sleep. Teenagers need lots more sleep because they're doing a lot of growing, and growth hormone is produced more during our sleep. So you will find that that sleep is a huge thing for them. But if you're someone who's maybe having to work at home, you're sitting in front of the computer a lot during the day, you understand you're not actually getting your body moving as much. And I really recommend to just set the alarm every so often to get you up and moving. Just take that little break. It could be something, a little dance. It could be, a little stretch. But it's getting up and moving. That's very, very important because our bodies are built to move. They're built to, to enjoy that exercise. But it doesn't have to be a progress, as we said. But if you're sitting for long periods, if your business has gone online, please build that into your day. Don't be sitting for too long periods, because you will find a little bit of shoulder ache coming in. There's a wonderful exercise you can do for that shoulder ache, because very often these muscles get tense as well. And actually, if you're at one of your doors in your house and you've got your hands at either side of your door and you stand in between your door, what it actually does is it really opens out the front of the chest, really opens it out and helps you to, drawing the arms up, making sure that your arms are, at shoulder height, and you'll be able to feel, how that relieves tension around the back of the shoulders. A lot of it is about drawing the front of the chest, and if that means if you can link your hands behind your back and draw them up, that's really helpful as well. So from the point of view of sleep, gosh, try to keep your sleep as regular as you can. We all need different amounts of sleep, and you may find that one night you're sleeping more, one night you're sleeping a little less. But the more exercise you do, the more you find that your sleep is restful. Make sure that there's a little bit of air coming into the room as well, aerated, that it's comfortable, that your bedroom is simply where you sleep, because you are going to find that as our routine this little bit, you might find that you do more and more things in one room in the house. Please make sure it's not your bedroom, because your bedroom is for sleep, and it's like you're programming your mind, associating your bedroom with sleep where possible. So try and keep it neat and tidy, keep it well aerated, make sure that it's comfortable, make sure that that your bed is as fresh as possible, that you have a routine before you go to sleep, because we know that our iPads, our computers, phones are all stimulatory to our brains. And so if you can have a little gap between the last time that you look at your phone, even if it's an alarm, and you're setting it, please have a little gap between that and trying to get to sleep where possible. And, you might have a wind down, particularly if you're a guest, and that might include a bath, a warm bath, not too hot. It might include, something like your journal, getting your journal out and doing a little bit of writing. You might want to do a to-do list, because sometimes that's what circulates in our mind. When we're trying to go to bed, we're thinking about what we have to do the next day. But if you have it written down, your mind is most at ease. And then when it comes to things like, if you find that you are wakeful during the night and there's a thought in your head, if you wake up, then do and write down, what's in your mind and allow it to rest and to ease. And then if you're particularly troubled, if you find that, there's a lot spinning around in your head a wonderful exercise to do is actually to take, it's called Morning Pages. It's something that I attribute to a great book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. But in actual fact, it's A4 pages first thing in the morning when you wake up. It'll take about 20 minutes that you just write everything that comes into your head. I call it like brain vomit. But what happens is that it actually then isn't perpetuating itself, during the days, that you're actually getting a little bit of easement from the racing thoughts. So that's very helpful. Also, there are a lot of sleep apps around. You can get them on the NHS app site as well. But there are many good apps out there that are just simply speaking, helping you to do progressive relaxation of each of the muscles, because we do store tension in the physical body. And if you have a lovely app that helps you to unwind physically at night, that's really, really helpful.
I love that, because sleep is such a major part of boosting our immune system, isn't it? It's where we repair and where the body, can heal itself. And it's just so, I think it's one of those things that's so underrated, that we don't give it enough credit. And actually, if we've got the opportunity to get some really good, solid, sound sleep, then, oh my goodness, that is just amazing. So, let's make it a priority, because everybody, goes to sleep. Everybody has got access to this tool, if you like, to go to sleep. So, I really love that, Anne, that you're pointing all of these amazing things out, and how to have a successful good night's rest to boost that immune system.
Yeah, it's so important. And the final thing, Kate, I was talking about there was the stress. And I am a huge, as you know, advocate of meditation. I have been doing this for years now. And I will say that if you're a complete beginner, now is a great time to even consider starting, a meditation practice. To remember where we live, we spend a lot of our time inside our own heads thinking about things and ruminating about things and playing scenarios over and over again. The one thing that can really help with that is a holiday for the mind. And we're in our homes right now. We're having to be, so the people that we live with most are the people in our family circle, or if you live alone, you're having to face a little bit more, and the things that you like about yourself, and maybe the things you like about yourself, and some of that can be going around inside our thoughts as well. So when that is the case, I really, really recommend even just there are many good apps, but I know here, at the Mystery School as well, we have many, many meditations. They're advertised, on the site, on our UK EU site, Kate, that give people an access to meditation throughout the week. I experienced life activation practitioners, from all over the UK and Europe, and these meditations actually developed by founder Goodney. It's a 5-step meditation, the Max meditation system, and I have seen huge responses to this in terms of stress relief. And if we think about, stress as being those things that can dampen our immunity, we need to find a way that works for us to ease that. And it might be something, for some people, it might be engaging in an exercise like yoga. For others, it might be, just having a little bit of time to self, journaling. It might be, actually getting the headspace and the time to clear out one of the cupboards in the house, because we live with stuck energy in our homes, when we're not letting the flow through. It might be just a really good stress relief to do to, put things in a bin bag and get rid of some stuff in our lives as well. Just to unblock whatever's blocking us. And, in the Mystery School, we have so we can give for stress as both practitioners and as initiates. But at the moment, if you find that your only access is the internet and you're looking for a meditation class, consider this, because it's one of the best meditation classes I've found for both beginners and people who are very experienced at meditation who've come to the class have said to me, oh my gosh, this relaxed in all of my life. And that is saying something, because it is a 5-step process and relaxation comes at the very beginning. It's an essential ingredient for meditation, really, is to be able to relax. And if you think what good that is doing for your body, it improves your sleep, it decreases your blood pressure, it helps so better prepared for your day ahead. And that doesn't matter what walk of life you are in. If it's a part of your life, I really salute you. And if it's not, give it a try. Give it a little try. And if one form of meditation isn't working for you, try another. Please give yourself that time. As I would say, self-care is the most important thing right now. It's the most important thing coming into 2021, because no matter what you are in life, no matter what it is that you do, if you're taking care of other people, if you're in business, if you don't have yourself, in that place of, centeredness, in that place of, where focus and where your body is in optimal health as well, then you're to provide the services that you want to provide. So looking after ourselves from a physical point of view, from our mind and emotions, and from a spiritual point of view as well, to engage in something that helps you to connect with the meaning of life again for you, whatever that is.
Oh, and yeah, I love that. And what I've done is I've put my email address on there. If people want to get in touch and have the link to the free email address, free meditations that we do via Zoom. And then, as you say, on the Modern Mystery School Facebook group, you've Dr. Anne very kindly lists all of the ones that are happening around Europe. So there's plenty of options. And I know that some of the guides actually are planning to do a sanctuary meditation class online over January. So we're going to have more details on that. So these are all really, really amazing tools that you can have access to right away. And of course, be part of our community and connect with each other online, which I know sometimes people don't get to see other people throughout the day. So again, it's always always nice to have that. So yeah, and I'm a big fan of meditation too.
Oh, thank you, Kate. And yes, can I just give one other tip? If we're dealing with stress, if you're in a really stressful moment and you're wondering just what to do in the moment, please always be aware of your breath and what's happening, because your breath is a physiological thing that you can control. And as soon as you slow down your breathing, it sets off a chain reaction within your body. It slows down your heart rate, it reduces your blood pressure, it reassures your adrenal glands that are pumping out all those stress hormones, all the adrenaline, to give you that help. So I mean, it can just be a simple counting in as you breathe in. You can hold for a count of 4 and then breathe out for a count of 4. And you can, or 6 if you can manage that. Because the more your out breath is, the easier it's going to be for you, generally. So.
Oh, Anne, thank you so much. We have come to the end of our time, and thank you. That is absolutely amazing. I love how you break it down into those 4 pillars, and everybody can do something. One comment that I saw today was that that people often the comment was about people forget that not everybody has access to money or vitamins, things like that, and all of the things that you have suggested, everybody can do right away. The sleep, the walking, or the movement. If you can't walk, there's some kind of movement that you can do. Eating as best as you can, and luckily in the West we all have access to water. So
Yes.
these are all things that we can do right away, and for me that's key. And therefore, it's easier for us to maintain, and as you say, consistency is important. So thank you so much for all of that. And is there anything else that you'd like to share? Or
well, right now, we've been working together for years, Kate, in terms of all the tools of the Mystery School. And if you are listening here, from the Mystery School tradition, please use your tools. And that includes, your everything from your adept rituals, from your very first initiation. That is really going to keep the chattering of the the constant consciousness out there. It's going to help you connect to and to the creativity that's inside you, and to really help you to find ways that are right for you as well, because there's a lot of information out there at the minute on the internet, and we need to be able to discern what's right for us as individuals. So just find what's right. You are the key. Don't forget that. And I wish everyone the best, the very best health, the very best of health on all levels, spiritual, mental, and physical. And you can, do your best starting today, and observing your own breath, observing your own physical body, and just make a plan and exercise one little thing day at a time. That's the best way to start.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anne, and thank you everybody for listening and commenting. We're going to be back on the 22nd of January with Alex, actually, and we're going to be talking about more astrology. So join us then. Thank you, everyone. Bye.